Okay. I had to get one of my best friends and coaching person on the show. You guys knew I had to bring her. We go way too far back. I even call her Coach Krista Gerlich, but I call her KG. Can I call you KG on live air?
Of course you can. Yes.
All
How are
right,
you
Coach.
doing, Carrie?
All is well. I'm doing great. Things are looking up. The podcast is just going like berserk crazy.
Love
Now
that.
we just have to deal with YouTube, Spotify, and all that other stuff that I don't know anything about. So, but other than that, it's good. So let's jump right into it.
All right. Thanks
So
for
I
having me,
know.
first of all.
Oh, it was a given. You were on my list. We go way back, man. I come to your practices at UTA and sit in there and learn something.
Wow, there you
When I
go.
when I was a coach, our late buddy, and rest in peace, Bill Freeney used to always tell me, say, Carrie, yeah, once a coach, always a coach. And I was like, Bill, I'm a GM now. I'm in roster reconstruction. He was like,
There you go.
always a coach, once a coach, always. That's his little raspy. I miss that old man. We used to
I
talk a lot.
know. Me
So
too. Me too. He
yeah,
used to always check on me. He's a good man.
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. He is.
Yeah.
So tell me this: you grew up in West Texas.
Yeah.
How did that shape? How did that shape your coaching?
Well, I mean, obviously, women's basketball, girls, high school basketball, everything is super important here in West Texas. It always has been. There's some really legendary high school coaches from the area and college coaches at that as well. And so just growing up in a gym and growing up around all these legends, I just learned a lot, was in many, many basketball camps in the summer, played in a lot of gyms all over West Texas. And obviously I had a great mentor in my own father, being my coach in high school and just growing up in a coaching family. And then being able to play for Coach Sharp here at Texas Tech was obviously a huge, huge blessing and benefit for my coaching knowledge and experience and those types of things. But yeah, you really can't find a bigger hotbed, in my opinion, for girls basketball than the West Texas area. It just, the history speaks for itself, and there's just some high level basketball players and coaches from this area.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you see, I got my red on. I had to come and represent today.
Love
Yeah,
that.
I wore some red.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so that's good stuff. So, what does it mean to lead a program where you won a championship as a player? I did my homework. Well, I know you anyway, but I did some more homework.
Yeah. I mean, it means it's very important to me. It's very much a responsibility. I feel a great responsibility just for, for this program, for the people that came before us, the people that I played with, the people that came in and won a lot of basketball games and established the tradition and wrote the history books of Lady Raider basketball. So for me to be able to come back and lead this program has been huge for me personally. And again, I carry a great responsibility with it, but a lot of pride. Nobody bleeds more red and black than I do at Texas Tech and especially for the Lady Raider program.
Well, I know that's for sure. Well, tell me this: what key lessons have you learned at UTA to build this into? Because you were very successful at UTA. You ran that conference. So, what lessons have you learned from that?
Well, when I took over UTA, it was definitely a rebuild. And we had to come in and start from the ground level and really put in the work to build that program up. And I would say that never in a million years did I think that when I took over if I was given the opportunity to take over Texas Tech, that I would have to utilize some of those things, some of those same tools, because Texas Tech was at the bottom of it as well whenever I took it back over. And so I would say just learning how to lay a foundation, how to turn a culture, how to build a culture. And you have to go, it takes time. You have to go through some trial and errors, but I think you got to get the right people involved, not just in your locker room, but on your staff and in the trenches with people that really care and want to work and want to do it the right way. So, I think I've learned a lot at UTA to be able to take the next step to be here at Tech.
Well, you must be reading my cheat sheet you brought on staff, so I might as well jump to that question. There's been a shake up in your staff. What inspired you to in this recent change? Why did you go that way? What inspired you?
I mean, First of all, I mean, I'm very grateful for all the people that have worked for me over the years or worked with me over the years, whether that be at West Texas A&M or San Antonio Taft High School or UTA or Texas Tech. And every year and every staff that I've had has been instrumental in our success and just building, the relationships and the values and the culture that we want at each stop. I think that this past year, it was a situation to where, we needed to get uncomfortable to be able to continue to move forward. And I think a lot of people, whenever you're not just managing your team, you're managing your staff. And when you're managing your staff, you're also building their careers and talk and listening to their dreams and goals and what they want to do. And I think throughout those conversations, there were a lot of conversations for each individual on that staff of where they wanted to end up going and or doing. And I think sometimes you have to give a little nudge in order for them to get out of their comfort zone and to grow. And I think that we had to do the same thing for our program, is just to just look at some different. We had to evaluate the program at the end of the year and see where our inefficiencies were and how could we change those to make them strengths and to build on those. And so, it's just part of the process. Really difficult. Change is never easy. Change is always uncomfortable, but I think that change is necessary too for you to grow.
Okay, I get that part. And I wanted to touch bases with you on this too. And I know it's a sensitive subject. So was it hard to move on from someone who's been with you for 12 years? Yeah. Particularly
no doubt.
Ashley, your relationship with Ashley, totally, with Ashley and you being at UTA,
for sure.
You her mentor, and I talked to her about it on our interview, and she had nothing but good things to say about you. So I definitely wanted to see, and I told Ash, I was like, I know that was tough for KG.
For sure. Yeah. And I think, I love AC so much. I mean, she's been with me forever. I still, obviously we'll have a strong relationship moving forward too. But again, I think change is something that is good for both. I think it's good for her career and how, where she was wanting to go and even learning, I mean, like, I think there's a lot to be said about stability and about loyalty and learning a program and staying in that role. And I think she did nothing but great things for us while we worked together. But I think also, sometimes you need a little push to be able to continue to grow in your area. And how do you want to continue to just explore new options, right? And explore new things. And I'm so proud of her. I mean, she's obviously at a terrific program in Arizona, and really excited for her family and what that looked like, and just for the new experiences that she's going to have. But yeah, change is never easy, and I think you have good conversations, and you have good trusting relationships, and you make tough decisions together.
Yeah, I talked to her about it, and her sentiments was the same. Like I said, she did nothing but praise, and I asked her what you're going to bring to Arizona that KG taught you. And she just came on with some stuff that she's bringing from what you taught her. She's going to bring that over to Arizona. So that was a great conversation to have. And I was happy that you guys can maintain still have a sisterhood through that whole time. So let's jump into this too. The new staff. What did the new staff bring? What are they bringing to the table? I met both coaches. And what do they bring to the table?
We have a lot of new staff, right? I mean, we hired 4 new coaches and a new director of basketball operations. And they just bring a different experience, right? They bring a different energy at that as well, a different knowledge, different connections, different networking. I mean, all kinds of things. Adrian Walters came from North Carolina, super respected in this field. I really was wanting some people that had some experience in the trenches, obviously in the NCAA tournament. Also even just head coaching experience. And Adrian brings so many things. But really the recruiting connections that he has is incredible. The knowledge that he has on the court. And then also just in-game situations, right? Like in-game situations that can give me that support that I need in critical times, when it's when you're in the fire and you're heat of the moment, and just a voice of reason and a voice of experience. I think that was super important to me in filling that spot. Jada Williams and Katera Chappell both have been excellent additions as well in the recruiting world. Man, they work. They really, really work at recruiting. And I love that they're always on the phone, or they're always talking to the next, big recruit. They're always getting somebody on campus. They're always hooking us up with the next person that can make our program better. And I thought that Jada's experience as a head coach has really helped. And then just her experience in different conferences and different connections, and understanding how different programs are ran, and being able to bring that experience to us. Katera is a up and coming young go-getter, and she has worked for some of the best in the business. I mean, she played for Vic Schaefer at Mississippi State. She worked on his staff for a year at Texas, and then followed Johnny Harris to Auburn, who I have so much respect for. So Katera is just really high energy, but loves the recruiting piece of it. And sometimes that's hard to find these days, is people that really enjoy being on the phone with kids, and just constantly looking for the next great player for our program that's a good fit. And I recently hired Renee Boone, who is she's our fifth assistant, if you will, but she's going to do a lot of things on campus for us, recruiting operations wise. When we bring kids on campus for visits, or mail outs, or just all kinds of different things, even skill development for our kids on the court, our current team. I love her background. She's been a head coach at Division II and very successful at Angelo State. She's kind of been at every level, but super organized, really high intellect. She runs our practice squad for us, and that's a whole nother thing that gives us a great advantage and a great dimension on the court. So those four coaches have been instrumental in adding to Eric DeRue, who's already been here and is fabulous in his own right. But I think our coaching staff is really, really good. And then Ashley Villarreal is a hometown girl that we brought back from Georgia Tech, who's our new ops. And actually, relationships matter. And when she was in the third grade, when she was in the third grade, she was in a camper when I was here coaching at Tech with Coach Sharp. And so I've known her forever, and she loves Texas Tech, loves the Lady Raiders, and is really good at what she does with operations.
Okay, that's good stuff. Man, I'm gonna plug Eric right quick. I've been knowing Eric for a while too, when he was at ACU, driving in them back roads late night, coming to Plano, going to Frisco, all these spots. So you tell Eric, he's been having me on radio silent. So you got to get on him for me.
I'll tell. Hey, look, he's been working.
I know he's been grinding.
He has been grinding. He leaves no stone unturned. And I love that about him. Like he works his tail off. So if he's not returning calls, it's because he's in a gym somewhere, probably with no service whatsoever.
I was with him. I like I said, I've been with him in the days of coming up, and he was at ACU, and we did a lot of talking about basketball. So that I'm familiar with him. But you mentioned a coach that I just had on the other day, Johnny Harris. And she's a great woman. I enjoyed the interview, and she just high energy. I love what she brings to the table. So that was when you mentioned that, I said I got to tell her that I had Johnny.
Yeah,
so when you're in the airport,
I love that you've had her on there. I hate that she's at Baylor in our conference now, but I think she's really good at what she does, and I've enjoyed getting to know her.
No, she's good people, and I look forward to seeing you guys go at it in the Big 12. So I'm looking forward to that. But she's really good people. So when you're in the airport, pull up the Girl Dad podcast and look what she's talking about, or go to the website.
I will, for sure.
And you can see what she was talking about and things that she brought in to the table that she plans on bringing to Baylor. So
love that.
That's good stuff. So tell me this. What's going on? What kind of player fits Texas Tech style now with these new coaches? 2 questions. Are you going to let those coaches do what some of the things they need to do to change you a little bit because you're trying to evolve as a coach and bring their style blended in with yours to give Tech a new look? And what type of player are you looking for Tech that fits your style?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously I think that when you surround yourself with good people, like you have to be willing to adjust and mold and learn and grow. And that's why I brought them in, and I think they all bring something different to the table. I love picking Adrian's brain just about defense. And, I think we've always been a pretty successful defensive program, but I think some of the things that he's brought in has been fantastic, and just how he teaches it has been great. And I think that, a couple of our other coaches, Jada and Katera, bring in just a skill set that, they've coached some really good players in the past, and they know how to develop them. And I think they add some dimensions in our post game that we've been missing. And I think that that's really going to be helpful. But yeah, I absolutely will grow from them and we'll learn. I mean, obviously we have a system and we have a philosophy, and we're going to stand by those things, but we're going to elaborate and grow and figure out how to put the best team that we can put on the floor. The fact that we got to go to Germany and play in the World University Games this summer was not only a benefit for our team, but it was a benefit for our new staff, because we got to practice together early. We got to be in intense games with one another, already understanding how each other works and operates, during the span of a 40-minute game. And I thought that was huge for us to figure out how are we going to be able to best benefit one another
Mm-hmm.
and be able to utilize each other on the sidelines during those games. And so I'm super excited about all of those things. I think we're going to continue to recruit. We're going to continue to try to get more athletic.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be long and athletic on the perimeter and be able to run the floor. We want to be able to disrupt in the full court defensively. And then I want some, fundamentally sound, really hardworking kids that want to play together and figure out how to be a great team.
You knew they were going to be fundamentally sound. I know your style. You're fundamentally sound. They're going to have to be fundamental.
We need to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. Let's say that.
They're going to have to be fundamental. But you said something that piqued my memory. You said, when you said Russia, going over to Germany, do you remember when we were in Italy together?
Absolutely.
Having a good time. I can remember you and Brand walking down Venice and all that stuff. That was some good times there too. So that I was like, oh, wow. When you said that, it just piqued my memory.
Yeah, it's just, moments like that, trips like that, they're just transformational, right? I mean, they build relationships, they build bonds, they give you core memories. That's how you and I got started, right? That's how our friendship got started. And,
yeah.
And I would say that, you remember those moments. And so for this team to be able to go to Germany and spend 2 weeks together, in a different country where they only had each other, and then they had to go to war together when they only had each other. I think all those things are just so beneficial, are going to be such, we're going to be able to lean back on that experience all throughout the season.
Well, we didn't just meet at Italy. I was sitting with you on court 18 or court 12 at Frisco Fieldhouse when you were the last person in the gym.
Well,
that's grind it out when you were at UTA. I sit next to you.
Always.
And you're the last person. Or the fact that you rolled from UTA up to Stillwater right after one of your games. You driving up to Stillwater, jump in the car to go see Brent play, and drive back at Hall. So we got a lot of history together.
That's right.
But you mentioned post. I can give you solve that for you when you say try to improve your post game. Just get some bigs.
Right, exactly.
Like they grow on trees.
Yeah, nobody needs them, so they're a dime a dozen, right?
they grow on trees.
Everybody needs a big, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's the first thing that come out of every coaches or recruiting coordinator say that, Kerry, what bigs you got out there, Kerry? And I'm like, well, I'm like, you probably know the bigs that I know. So
I know
it's hard to find them. And I think the game is evolving eventually, maybe towards like the boys, where bigs now are going to be trying to shoot the three ball.
For sure.
The style of game. Style is going to change going into the future for women's basketball, where bigs aren't going to be a traditional big. I'll
Yeah,
be able
I
to.
feel like they kind of already have done that, really. I mean, you hear positionless, you hear that word a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that's true, but at the same time, I think the teams that are really successful have an inside presence.
Inside game.
And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
You have to
And
have that, but like I said, those girls are gonna also have to have a skill set. Maybe they can
well,
step it out and
and
pull another dig away from the basket.
I think that's where it's really important for player development too, is because
Hmm.
there aren't as many bigs as we all need, right? And so you need to take a chance on some that need more development. But if they're willing to work and learn, I think that you can really develop some kids that have a big frame and that have maybe aren't even grown into their body yet, right? There might be a little uncoordinated or whatever that might look like, but you can develop them into being a really successful inside presence for you.
Yeah, yes, it is. And that's one thing out of college basketball I've been finding over the last few years, that especially in this new climate, you get a big or either any player, you develop them and get them good. Next thing you know, they're in your office talking about, coach, I want to transfer. I want to get some. Somebody done whispered in their
That's
ear,
true.
and now they're trying to hit the portal. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a situation. And how have you handled that part of the new game? Because you're old school. And that wasn't a
Mhm.
part when you were playing. So this transfer portal, and you lost some pretty good players to the portal this year. How is that? How are you handling that going forward on this
Yeah, I mean,
roster
I think
reconstruction?
you lose good players every year to the portal. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that you're looking across the board at that. I mean, you had kids playing in the Final Four that were transferring. Like, it doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. But at the same time, it is what it is, And I think you just do your best to recruit your own kids and to keep them home. And if
That's
there's a
important.
yeah, I think it's real important. But if there's a better opportunity for them somewhere else, I mean, there's no use in fighting it, really. I mean, it's going to happen. I do hate the way it's kind of transformed, but at the same time, like, you either learn how to deal with it and get on board, or get left behind. But
Yeah.
I mean, everything works out for the way it's supposed to. And like I said, I think we do a good job of treating our kids really well and showing them where we have a plan for them. And if it works out, great. If they feel like they can find a more playing time or whatever it is they're looking for, sometimes it's more money. Now it's more
Hmm.
money. That is what it is. But this past year was really crazy to me, just how many really successful teams lost really good players. And that piece of it, I'm not real sure what kids are looking for sometimes,
Yeah.
when
No,
that
I
happens.
understand that. And I think one thing on the podcast, I'm talking to a lot of girl dads about stuff like that, the insight that I'm getting about that. But from the
Yeah,
transfer portal standpoint, I think it works well for everybody if it's for the right reasons.
yeah,
And
for
with
sure.
this roster reconstruction every year, even as a coach, it could work better for you. You find a kid
Yeah,
that fits your needs, and she's not a freshman who's kind of young under the wet behind the ears and doesn't know exactly what it takes. And you can get a kid who's been through it, knows a little bit about it, and knows exactly what they want, and they're coachable, and that are within your budget nowadays.
yeah,
God, I had to throw
yeah,
that in. You got to be within the budget. That can
right,
work. It's a two-way street. So
for
um,
sure.
it's definitely a two-way street. So
No doubt,
let's
no
talk.
doubt.
And how are you handling the collective, the new collective coming out? And I know you probably got run that through your GM, but I've been doing a lot of studying on the NIL Go and the third party,
Mhm.
Deloitte, and all these, a lot of stuff. I had my attorney on a month ago, and we were breaking it down. And he's a sharp dude on this NIL and collective stuff, and
Yeah.
he educated me on a lot. So, what's your feeling on that? Being old school.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you either jump on board or you get left behind, right? So, I mean, I think you're seeing Texas Tech be an instrumental player in this new space.
Mm-hmm.
Through our football team and our men's basketball team and even our softball team this year. I think that we're on the cutting edge on the front side of it, and I think that all the sports here at Tech are trying to find a way to continue to use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
I think that Kirby has done a great job for Texas Tech of any time the landscape is changing, he tries to get out in front of it, and he doesn't get mad about it. He doesn't ask a ton of like, why is this happening? He's like, okay, how can we use this to benefit our programs. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's, I mean, I would have loved to have been able to get paid, for my NIL or whatever, back in the day when we were winning a national championship. I mean, I can't imagine what Cheryl Swoops would have garnered, and back in that day. And I would say all of us, to be honest, I mean, we came back when we came back after winning that national championship, we were welcomed to 40,000 people in our football stadium.
Wow.
And imagine if NIL would have been a thing back then. I mean, all the different types of deals we could have gotten then. So good for them. Good for these kids. I mean, like, let's market them. Let's build their brands. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I like it too, and to an extent, and if it's used properly. And I see a lot of schools going to the GM role, having someone as a GM that's kind of guiding that $1 billion budget or whatever it is. That's just a number I'm throwing out. That they're guiding that, and they're taking some of the stuff off the table for the coaches, so that the coach doesn't have to worry so much. If you have to coach, develop, staff, and now I got to deal with the budget and deal with all this other stuff that's on the table, I think it takes away from the coach. And I do believe that the GM role in college basketball was eventually coming. And I was talking to Brandy Clay about that it eventually was going to get here. And if you got the right GM who's out there and understands this landscape, that it's going to benefit. And I don't care. I am women's basketball. I'm all about women's basketball.
Love that.
So it helps women get more. Hopefully it'll trickle into the WNBA and all of that stuff there. So I'm happy about that. So,
for sure.
So what the Big 12? Okay, let's talk about that. How are you preparing for this new look Big 12? Because it's going to be a new every year almost. Hit with Mark coming over there, and TCU reconstructing their roster. JC's doing hers. Now Krista got to come in.
It's everything, right? I mean, every year it's somebody different. I mean, I think it's interesting as head coaches at the Big 12 meetings this year. We talked about a coaches preseason poll, and we were like, what's the value in that? Because nobody knows what each other's roster looks like. I mean, you don't know. I mean, you're really just guessing about, well, I think this player is going to, transition really well for this team, or this program's gotten these 4 transfers in or whatever. And so it's just hard, right? It's hard to know. I mean, clearly TCU had an incredible year last year, and they've had to replace a lot of kids, but they've done that too, in the transfer portal. They've done a good job with that. I mean, Baylor has been consistently successful. Iowa State obviously has their main core kids coming back. And then you're adding, I mean, we've played a year now against Arizona State, those types of teams, but Utah, obviously, BYU, those teams, but it's just going to be, it's going to be exciting. I mean, I think the conference was really good. I think
always
bottom, it's going to be better and better. I think that we need to get out, on a national scene more and be talked about more as a conference, and I think that's super important, but I think it's going to be a great year for the Big 12.
I've always followed the Big 12, even though when my daughter was playing in it, but I'm a basketball. That's what I do. I'll have 2 screens going and have another screen going, watching all kind of basketball, especially during that time of the season. So I think the Big 12 is one of the best conferences, and they have a lot of good teams and
really good coaches.
A lot of good coaches in this conference, and you guys go at it. So well, let's have some fun, a little quick before we land this plane. Let's talk about motherhood. Being a mom, has that shaped you differently? Because I know you're a mom and you coached you coached your daughter for a while, and I know Brent. I know Brent.
It for sure it's shaped me differently. I mean, there's nothing better than being a mom. I mean, that's my first and foremost responsibility. I feel like, on this earth, is to be Brent and Braden's mom. And I love the experiences that basketball has actually given both of my kids, whether it be Bryn's career as a basketball player and being able to coach her, or even Braden. Braden's played multiple sports, but he's actually a practice player for us now here at Tech. And that's been super fun to have him, in the gym with us. But I would say that as I've been coaching, because I've been coaching for a really long time, I think it's interesting how when you didn't go through it with your kids. So like when my kids were younger and we would have, college drop off, right? Your freshmen would come in and the moms and dads would bring them in and they'd be all excited. And then as they're driving off, they're boo-hooing and crying.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as a coach, you're like, I got them. They're going to be fine. It's going to be so much fun. Don't worry about it. But then when I actually took my daughter and drove off, I didn't even get out of the parking lot. And I was like,
you dropping tears.
Oh, this is real. Yeah, this is real. And
oh, yeah.
I think it just made me more human, to be honest, to be able to understand that feeling and to understand that no matter how, no matter that we're coaching college age, like somebody still needs to be looking out for these kids. These girls are someone's daughters. And and I just think it's super important that their parents know that we're going to take good care of them, and but that we're going to let them grow, and we're going to challenge them, and we're going to show some tough love, but we're going to also look out for them and make sure that they're taken care of. But
we got to take that bubble wrap around them. You know how we are. I'm a dad. As parents, we'll put that bubble wrap around. They going out to they walk into the mailbox and we got bubble wrap. Hey, don't get hurt. Don't fall.
Yes. Yeah. We don't want anything to go bad in their world. Right. But sometimes they need to be able to fight through some adversity so they can survive. Yeah. But it's been great. I mean, I love my opportunity I love my dual role as being a mom and then also a coach.
That's good stuff. And I know that too. And I'm glad to have some segment of being able to share that with you. Because we did share it for a little while there. So let's land this plane, because I know you probably got recruits coming in. You're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Give my, I'm involved with a lot of girl dads, and I want you to give them a nugget. What girl dads, something that they should know that helps their daughters, chase this basketball journey. Something they should know.
Something they should know to chase the basketball journey.
Help them through their journey.
I just as much as I've been in the coaching world, I cannot express how important it is for these young women to have a strong fatherly figure in their life. And it's not somebody to coddle them, right? It's not. I mean, it is somebody to protect them. It is somebody to give them wisdom and to give them advice. But it's so important for these women for these young women to see what a good man looks like. And it certainly helps if it's in the form of their dad. And some of them aren't fortunate enough to have a father figure in their life. And so I feel like when I've hired men on my staff, that's one of the number one things that I look for is that they would be a strong fatherly figure in their life, for those that don't have that. If we have people like that on our roster, that they can look to these men that really support women and that care about them and that will really challenge them, but yet just show them what a good man looks like, because I think that's super important.
No, very important. And you girl dads out there, you got that nugget. I've so many people come on the show and giving up good nuggets. That was a good nugget there. So we're going to land the plane. I know you got to go. But before we go, guys, girl dads, I want you guys, and I'm on a PSA campaign for you guys to get your prostate checked out, get your levels checked out early, so you'll be able to. It's not a big thing. So keep abreast of all your levels of your PSA, eat right, exercise. But again, you know how we girl dads get, you don't want to talk about it. DM me, let me know. I'm going through it in terms of me checking my prostate. So call me up, guys. Let's talk about it. Hey, Krista, thanks a lot. I'm glad you came on. We finally made it happen. And I can't wait to see you guys turn around and do some big things in the Big 12.
Thank you.